Hello, Inventors Club. Today, I'm going to be going over how to make an invention out of a spool of ribbon. Now, I did this little rotating platform with a little person on with a skirt and a tree, but you don't have to do that. You can do anything you want. That was just my example, and here I am drawing a bunch of different little ideas. You can see that one that I'm drawing right now is almost like a car idea or something, some sort of spaceship. And here I do another idea for a spaceship. Then I'm kind of just drawing more ideas for a mobile, and that's when you have a bunch of different things hanging from one singular thing. Then instead of drawing, I'm just going to actually start testing things out. So I try and test out that first initial drawing, but you can see that it doesn't quite work out. So I have to keep sort of adjusting. See, I try a different way. That doesn't quite work either. So then I just sort of move on, and I'm going to do something else. I'm going to try and do the spaceship cone sort of thing. And you can see me trying to use tape to hold it down and just doing a variety of things to sort of get a feel for how I can make something that moves with the spool. My invention, I really wanted it to be able to move around somehow. Yours doesn't have to, but that's what I was going to try and do, something that had some sort of movement. And here you can see me cutting out these circles. I had considered doing a motorcycle here for a little bit, and you can see me messing around with the idea of putting motorcycle handles on there. But ultimately, I didn't want to do a motorcycle. I wanted to do something with a lady sort of spiraling around or moving around, or possibly some clouds. So I sort of changed my mind on that motorcycle idea, and now I'm trying to do a mobile. I was going to think about hanging this from a string and letting it sort of rotate. You can see me chopping up the straws to sort of making it several different parts and bending the straw around so I could sort of make it float around. And the swirl is more or less an example of how I'd be able to let things move with the weight. And then I had the idea of drawing these little circles that would attach to the mobile. You can see me sort of stamping out the excess ink there onto the page. What again I suggest, anytime you're coloring, you use a page underneath the page or thing that you're coloring so you don't get markers on the table. But here I am sort of messing around with that same idea. A lot of invention is just trial and error. You can see me trying to spin that around. Again, I almost don't even know what I'm doing at this point. I'm making it all up. I'm an inventor, a mad scientist, just trying to come up with different ideas, different ways to do what I need to do. Again, I encourage you all to have fun with this. It's going to feel really bad for a while because you're like, oh, it's not quite working out. My idea is not really coming to the way it needs to be. But that just means that you have a little more to go. You see here, I changed my mind. I decided I want to do a tree there. So I gave up on the idea of the lady rotating at a certain point. I was just like, I think I'm just going to make a tree. I'm going to make a tree and a little park or something that can rotate. And I still hadn't figured out how I was going to make it rotate. But I just sort of kept moving forward and started using my skills on trying to make a tree and make that convincing. And using scissors and a little bit of bending, that could totally work out. And then I really wanted to have a little girl or someone being able to fly around, and I considered the idea of using a straw to do that. But you can see here, I'm still trying to figure out an idea on how to rotate it, and I finally figure out I can use the tape roller to as a base for my rotation device, and I'm going to use a slice of paper to sort of roll the ribbon roll around, and then I'm taping the paper onto the base of the ribbon roll, swirling it around, and then I can pull it, and you see it has that little effect on it. Once I have it taped up, I roll it around, and then I can pull it and make it rotate. I'll have a closer up version of that in just a little bit, slow it down a little bit so you guys can see how I did that. And feel free to make a rotating platform out of the ribbon, or do something else, man. Do a wheel, do whatever. So you see me here. It takes a little bit of practice to figure out exactly how and how I'm gonna do that. And then I was pretty happy with getting the rotation down, but I still wanted to do the little lady that could also rotate. But of course, I knew I wanted to do a presentation, so I took a cereal box, an old cereal box, and I made it as a backdrop. I wanted to put a backdrop over it. I realized that the tree is too tall for the backdrop to be horizontal, so I had to make it tall. And then I'm just going in with my color pencil and pressing down the color all over to make like a blue sky. And here I am, I'm rolling it back up, sticking the spool back onto the tape. And here's the close-up. I'll slow this down just a little bit. And you can see I've stuck the roll inside of the tape roll. And then I can then tape on a strip of piece of paper to the tape roll, and then I'll be able to pull it through after I wind it up. And I'll give a couple more examples, another couple more times of me doing that. So you can see me cutting a strip of paper, cutting another strip of paper, taping them together there, and then taping the strip of paper onto the spool. And there I go. I tape the strip of paper right onto the spool, wind up the spool, place it inside of the tape dispenser, and then you can kind of pull. But then I really wanted to do a little lady who would rotate all around the ribbon spool. So I went ahead and drew her and cut her out, and I'm sort of taping her onto the grass. There you have it. It's the little rotating platform. I'm really excited to see all your inventions and how you go about problem solving, doing and making something out of a spool of ribbon. Well, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.
Transit Arts.